And I thought I stopped this, but apparently I didn't. Oh, sorry. I'm getting here late this morning because I had to put my carrots in the garden and get some bills paid. Ugh, I hate doing that, but it's the middle of the month. So we all gotta do our dues. I'm gonna make a plushie. I went to Dollar Tree yesterday. Oh my gosh, I was gonna tell you guys about this too. I was gonna buy some more terracotta pots on Dollar Tree because you guys know you can buy bulk items on Dollar Tree if there's something that you get a lot of. And so I found 2 packs of terracotta pots, which makes them like, it's $1.25 for 2 packs. So, 75 cents each, right? But you have to buy a case, so you have to buy 24, so you end up with 48, right? But I have this feature on my browser. I don't know how it works. But when I went to do it, it popped up and said, you can get this cheaper at Walmart. And so for 24 of them, it's only $20 instead of $30 on Walmart. Anyway, I don't know why I wanted to share that with you guys, but I just thought that was... I got this color. I haven't had this color yet, and I really like it. It's like a terracotta color. So I'm going to make some pots, some like stuffy. I'm going to crochet some pots this morning. Anyway, I've been browsing. This is the first time I've heard that you could buy things from Dollar Tree in bulk. So I've been browsing different things that I can get. Good morning, Ams. Working around this flat. I did make some pots yesterday. I know we made one yesterday on a live, but then yesterday when I was watching TV and just relaxing to beat the heat yesterday, I made a couple more and played around with it. And I do agree that working it in a continuous round is much more aesthetically pleasing than trying to join each row and create a new row. Good morning, Colleen. But I only did that after I got done with my increases. I still joined my rows on my increases. That way I can make sure I was doing those evenly. And I'm going to make this one much smaller just for the sakes of not having a 5-hour long live this morning. But I really love this color. I still am disappointed with Dollar Tree's color of green. What did you make, Ams? Did I miss a comment or something? Yeah, post something so I can see what you're making. I love seeing what you guys are making. Good morning, Kristen. Amy's in the house. Good morning, Amy. And Ivy. Okay, you made it Ivy this morning. You made it Ivy. Yeah, post it. I want to see it. Like the Becky or the Carla. Becky and Carla are the same pattern. They're just different colors. I think I'm going to do some vendor booths this year for the fall. I'm going to make some pumpkins at some point. I'm going to get some more orange. We're going to make pumpkins. And I think I'm going to try to search for doing some Christmas markets or something. Oh, I just noticed my music is like really down, really low. I had to make several phone calls this morning. Oh, the birds are at the bird feeder this morning. I've had this, not bird feeder, but bird bath. I've had this bird bath forever, and I've never had birds at it. But since this heat wave's been coming through, they've been around more and more. Blue jays are pretty, but geez, I hate them. I got a distaste for blue jays after I watched them completely destroy a dove's nest at my house one time. They killed all the babies in it. And not even for like a good reason. They just threw them out of the nest. Hi, Pam. Packing for a float trip. Have fun, Amy. That's going to be so fun. Good morning, Maria. Float trips are fun. I haven't done a good float trip in a while. Okay, so this is about the size I'm going to make. So I'm just going to keep going around in single crochets. I'm going to keep my stitches tight. I'm going to make them snug. I have not crocheted any outfits. I've made a couple of halter tops for my daughters. And I didn't follow any particular pattern with those. I just made like some granny squares and then kind of went and fitted it to them as I went along. It's not my favorite thing. Thank you, Maria. Oh, good. I'm glad you found her. Yeah, Lo-Fi Girl is back. She had a little downtime there for a while, which kind of sucked, but she's back. But I have noticed, she was down for some reason due to, from what I understand, due to a copyright issue. I don't know what's going on with that, but she, oh, Ms., you're moved. Congrats. Good morning, Caroline. Amy, I do know a little bit about aloe vera plants. I know that they hate the sun, which is where I've got mine right now, and I need to move them. I also know they're toxic to cats, which is why I can't bring them inside. Because Pepper doesn't mess with them when they're outside, but when they were inside and he was a little littler, he kept trying to chew on them. Yeah, Amy, I would water it. I water all my plants the same, to be honest. I think aloe veras, it depends on if they're inside or outside. If you have it inside, then I would just water it. I would let it get dry and water it when the soil is dry. I think sticking to any sort of schedule with your plants is kind of tricky, because if you say, oh, I water every Sunday, if your plant is wet and you probably shouldn't still be watering. That's kind of my general rule for cactus and succulents, is I only water it when it's been wet for a day or two. Dry for a day or two. I think it's good to let those plants dry out. I think every plant, aside from super tropical plants, really need to get dry between waterings. I'm using, this is a G, which is a 4.25 millimeter. Maria, I don't know why cats like eating plants. And I don't think he doesn't mess with them now anymore. He doesn't. But when he was a kitten and he was crazy, and I think he's still crazy, but I just think he liked to chew on them. I don't think he was eating them. He was just running around the house, and he'd get up next to one and just reach over and bite it. I don't know. I don't think he was doing it to eat it. I think he was just chewing on it because he was a kitten, and that's what kittens do. But I had to move it outside because they are very toxic. Aloes are very toxic to cats. So he can't really get to him. Well, there's one outside where he could get to it, but he doesn't mess with them anymore. I've got him really good and trained with my plants. I mean, we started when he was a kitten. Anytime he got close, because he tried to dig in the rocks and dig in the dirt, and I just got real consistent with making sure that I got him out every single time, and he learned. The only one that he really loves to mess with now is my Majesty Palm. He destroys that plant. In fact, I don't know that I'll be able to bring it back in this year. I may have to let it go. Good morning, Goth Gardens. Good morning. Ooh, my crochet. This is going to be so cute, isn't it? So I don't know, but then again, it is summertime and most of my plants are outside. So when winter comes around and he's cooped up indoors, it may be a different story again, but for the most part, he doesn't really mess with any of my plants. Caroline, I'm making I'm crocheting a pot. I've just been recently trying to perfect crocheting my own little pots, just because, you know, I've been struggling with the terracotta price increase. And I also kind of want to make some plushies. So I'm working on crocheting a pot. Oh, you were on my YouTube. Good. Yeah, I got on a little late this morning. Usually I'm on a little earlier, but I had some things I had to take care of this morning. So I'm just working in the round on this, and then at some point when I'm ready to make my lip, I will turn it to go the other way, and so that when my edge folds over, it matches the stitch side. Yes, I do like Dollar Tree yarn, honestly. It's a little thinner than most worsted weight yarns. I'm not gonna lie, but for these small projects where I'm not really mixing, like I tried to add some of these colors that I got yesterday to my daughter's granny square blanket that I'm making, and it's very significantly thinner. And so the squares don't match up to make the same size. But I do love it as a yarn on its own. Mixing it with, like I said, mixing it with my other worsted weight yarns doesn't really work if you're doing something like a granny square or something where they need to be consistent. But this yarn is soft. It's not scratchy at all. It comes in some pretty cool colors. I'm making a plant plushie. This is going to be the pot. You guys, I think it's time to cut this bracelet off. I've had this bracelet on. It's Amazonite, and I made it myself because I had some beads, and it's really stressed out. And I usually wear, I know I'm totally changing the subject. I usually wear these beads, but somehow, and I don't know what, but with both of these, the strings have gotten all frayed and I need to restring them, so I haven't been wearing them, but I've got, this one is tied on. I'm gonna have to cut it off. It's driving me nuts because the stones hang down and scratches the table. I'm gonna have to make a new one of those. I'm gonna have to redo all my beads. I've got some elastic bracelet cord that I can restring all of those on. That's a project for another day. But that was just bugging me because every time I go to make a stitch, it like clanks on the table. I had to let it go. I'm going to do a few more rows here. Haven't really been counting. It's kind of hard to count rows when you're doing just continuous around. I mean, you still can. It's not a big deal, but you guys will be proud of me. I got my, for my accident, I got all my claim averages put in. My lost income and all of that. Did all that this morning. Had been putting it off. Did all that, paid my bills, checked up on some finance stuff. I was a productive adult. I also got my carrots in the garden this morning. I had to pull out where I was growing my wheatgrass because I decided to start growing my wheatgrass inside. I'm going to start a new rotating system so that I always have fresh wheatgrass to pull. So I decided not to grow up my garden anymore. No, Michaela, I don't. I'm really hoping in the next couple of days. In fact, I think I'm going to go over there today. My stepdad's working on it, and he's trying to get it finished before he's having some back surgery next week. I think it's next week. And so he needs to get it done before he goes to the hospital, because I'll be mad if I have to wait longer than that, because I think he has all the parts in. It's just a matter of switching out the bumper. He's already switched out the back gate, but I'm going to go over there this afternoon. My mom's on vacation this week. So I may go lay by the pool with her, hang out, do some laundry, and then just kind of poke my head in the shop and be like, so how's it going? Because I need my car back. I really want to make one more trip to Amarillo, but then I also need to get back to work. My friend she had just called me right when I started this live. They're taking her in to do a platelet transfusion. And she's losing, her blood count is really low. Good morning, Dizzy. So she's not doing well at all. All right. Yep. I'm going to keep going up because then I'm going to have to figure out how to turn. Yeah, Pam, it's really bad. It's, I try to stay chipper and cheerful for her. But I know that she's just like, she was not in good spirits when I called her, but she called to let me know she's going to not be around her phone for a little while because they're going to go and do that for her. Yeah, I hope maybe if they do that, maybe it'll help her with some of her issues. She's just in a really bad, she's just, I don't know. Yeah, Amy, I like it too. I don't have that awkward seam going up the edge or up the side. I think I'm going to put a succulent in this one. I also need to perfect how I secure it into the pot. Oh, Maria, that sucks. I hate that. I hate cancer so much. It's such a horrible thing. It's one of those things where it can be in your body and you don't even realize it. And before you start seeing the effects, it's already really, really progressed. And it really has, just going through this with my friend has really inspired me to start taking better care of my health. Because you just never know. Which is one of the reasons why I'm... Chelsea, it is a single crochet. It should be a single crochet. Just going in, pulling through two. I'm probably going a little too fast because sometimes when I get to going, but from what I understand, this is a single crochet stitch. Oh, Pam. Yeah. Yeah. Getting those mammograms are important. So I've been taking my wheatgrass shot every morning. Like, I'm trying to grow my own wheatgrass too, just because that stuff is expensive at the health food store. Pam, that's awesome. You pull that second loop from the front and you do the back. Interesting. I'm trying to figure out how that would be. So you pull through from the front. I don't know that I know what you're saying. Jackson, good morning. Yeah, if I were to yarn over first, then that would be a half double crochet because that would give me 3, see? But a single crochet, you just go into the stitch. Now you can go into the back loop or the front loop and still do a single crochet. So if you go in the front loop, pull through, but that's going to give you a weird line in the back because that back loop is going to stick out. It's just going to be out there hanging around. Here in a minute, I'm going to be doing back loop stitches. Chelsea. Okay. Yeah. It's definitely going to have to be a visual thing, but yeah, this works pretty fast. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and turn this to start working in the other direction so that I can make my edge. The purpose of turning it, for those who weren't here yesterday when we worked this out, is so that I can keep the same, see, like this is the correct side of the stitch. And this is the back side of the stitch, or it's the front side and this is the back side. But I want my edge, I'm going to make a cuff, and I want that to be the same stitch. So in order to do that, I've got to kind of turn it in the opposite direction so that when I roll it down, it's the same stitch pattern side. Yeah, Dania, is it Danielle, or is it, I'll just call you Danny, if that's okay. People have told me that, and I've tried to look at other people and how they crochet, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't see the difference. I'm just going up, and I guess some people go like that, but I don't see how that's such a major difference in crocheting. To me, it doesn't look any different in the stitches. Like those all, like I did that switching it up both ways, and that looks the same all the way across. Like I kind of did that differently going down. So see, I did 2 there, and then I did 2 going this way. Oh wait, those last two are the same. Hold on. I mean, it works easier both ways. It just doesn't I really don't think it makes any difference. So see, I did it kind of differently all along there, and that all looks the same to me. So if you do it one way or the other, it's really not, there's no wrong way. So if I were to, I guess that's the difference. I don't know. I guess that's the difference. You know what is weird to me is that for all these years I've been crocheting to myself, you know what I mean? Like, I've never publicly crocheted, and so this is starting to do these lives, and people are like, oh my god, you do it so much differently. Like, now I'm starting to I'm like, I don't know. I've just been crocheting this way the whole time. I'm going to do 3 rows for this cuff. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Hold on. I'm going to have to take it out. Yeah, more, I'll slow down, but I forgot to work in the back loop only because that gives me my nice ridge on the top. So I have to take this out. Oh, wait, I didn't have to go that far. Give me just a second. Okay, so I'm going to turn this so I can work back around backwards, and I'm going to work in the back loop only just for this row, because when I flip it, it's going to give me a nice flattened top. So I'm just working in the back loop only. I know, Laura. I hate unraveling things, but you should have been here yesterday when I had to unravel the whole pot because I wasn't paying attention, and it was increasing in one particular spot, and it looked like a gravy boat. It's not anything, it's the radio, I think. It's a bell in the song, in the music. I didn't notice it until you just said it. Now I hear it every time. No more, this is a single crochet. Yeah, Chelsea, it is fun seeing other people. There's this lady I saw yesterday on TikTok. She had the most unique way of holding her hook and doing her stitches. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But she was just going at it. And, okay, so now I'm going to do these in both loops because it was just that one. That way, see, when I flip it, it's going to have a nice flat edge now because I worked in that back loop. It is 9:40 in the morning. Laura, I don't know. It doesn't really hurt anymore. I've been crocheting forever. If I were to crochet all day long, yeah, I'd probably get a little fatigued by it, but no. Doesn't really hurt me much anymore. So now I'm going to work in both loops. And I'm doing a single crochet stitch, which is go into my stitch, pull through both of these. Not doing any yarn over except for when I'm pulling through. And that I don't really consider a yarn over. You're just pulling your yarn. You're just grabbing it and pulling it through. I mean, I guess it's a yarn over because you're still putting yarn on your hook. You're wrapping yarn around your hook. Or a yarn under. Tracy, me too. Chelsea does knife hold. Yeah, knife hold is very similar to knitting. Mindy, I'm making a little succulent stuffy. Yeah, Maura, feel free to ask away. I'm always willing to teach, give you my advice. But I think if you're struggling, if you're starting to crochet and you're struggling with the way that you hold your, if it's not comfortable for you, definitely research on YouTube for some different ways, or even on TikTok for some different ways that people hold their yarn, because it can really make a difference. By the way, when I was at Dollar Tree yesterday, I noticed that they have knitting needles. They didn't have any crochet hooks, which is odd to me, but they have knitting needles. If anybody, because I think somebody was asking me if they had crochet hooks too, because they have yarn, but I love knitting. I love the look of knitting. It just kills my wrists for some reason. And I used to knit a lot, but for some reason, I could never get it to stop hurting. And so I just had to quit. And on the random occasion I try to feel like I can do it again, I immediately, after, you know, a couple of rows, I'm like, yep, nope, this is why I don't. All right, I'm going to do only 3 rows for my cuff. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I'm going to flip it inside out and just make sure that this is what I want. You know what? I'm going to do 1 more row. I know that's probably perfect. I probably don't need 1 more row, but I made it a little taller than I kind of had envisioned, but you've never been down the craft aisle at Dollar Tree? They for sure have tons. They've been up in their game with the crafts. Actually, I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to do another row. It's sufficient. Mora, I'm making a little succulent stuffy. Oh no, Maria. Okay, there's our little pot. Now let's make our succulent. For those of you who want to know how to make a succulent. And yes, I'm going to fill it. Somebody asked earlier, I'm going to fill it with polyfill. I like to tap the bottom just a little bit, flattens it out. Isn't that cute? Oh my goodness. These would make such cute, like if you use just a good stiff, maybe like a cotton yarn. They would make little pencil holders or such, you know. I don't know. You could put your makeup brushes in it or something. Something little. Ta-da! All right, let's make a succulent. Now I may not, depending on if I can get the succulent size right, I may not add any dirt to this. I may just stuff it and then sew the succulent right onto the edge. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, so this is my green. I'm trying to think. Let's do 30. I think 30 would make a good size for this. I'm trying to remember kind of the sizes. Oh yeah, Maria, that's a good idea to use a little like crochet an outer cuff for the can, like a sleeve for the can, for sure. Okay, 30 chains. 3, 4, 5. Hi, Pepper. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Pepper is mad at me. I went to the Tractor Supply yesterday to get seeds for my fall garden. By the way, if you have a Tractor Supply in your area, their seeds are marked down to $1 a packet. I stocked up. Anyway, I was there and they didn't have the kind of food that he likes. So I was like, oh, I'll just get this kind because I really didn't want to cross the highway and go over to, I live in a really congested area. And I was like, oh, I'll just get cat food here. They didn't have his kind, so I got a different kind and he doesn't like it at all. He protested last night. Thankfully, I had 1 more can of his food, so he was fed this morning. He does get dry food too, but he likes his wet food. He's a spoiled-ass brat. Okay, what I'm doing here, so I'm going to back up and talk about it now. I like to get it started just so you guys can see. I'm making a foundation with these holes, and each of the leaves are going to be worked into these holes. So what I did was this first one, I went into the second chain from the hook, and the pattern that I'm crocheting is single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. Okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect. If you end up with, you know, an extra hole or a single stitch at the end, it's fine. It's not. Yeah, Maura, just always make sure you're doing your turn stitch, that chain at the end of whatever you're working on, so that you can have a nice clean turn. Single crochet, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 1, 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 skip a stitch, single crochet. And that's going to create these wonderful little holes to work our succulent leaves in. And yep, I ended up with a single stitch down here at the end, which is fine. It's not a big deal. I'm going to chain 1 to turn. And so the pattern for my leaf is I'm going to, aside from single crocheting in on each end, or not single crocheting, slip stitching, I'm not going to slip stitch into this first hole just because I'm out here and it's going to be easy just to get in there real easy. It's not like I'm coming from another leaf. So I'm going to do 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and 2 double crochets. Okay, so yarn over, go in, pull through the first 2, pull through the second 2. That's a double crochet. I'm going to do 2 of those. Double crochet. Now to make the point of our leaf, I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to do 2 more double crochets. 1, 2. Now to close off our leaf, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to slip stitch, and that's going to kind of bring down the edge of our leaf, and that is our first leaf. Now to get to the next hole, we're going to slip stitch over into the next hole, chain up 1, 2 more double crochets, okay. Now I'm going to bring it back down with a slip stitch. I'm going to go into the next hole with a slip stitch, chain up 1. Okay, 2 double crochets. Oh my god, I have to show you guys what I made yesterday. I was hanging and chilling on the couch yesterday, trying to stay out of the heat, and I was watching TV, and I decided to I was going to make a plant hanger. I was like, I want to make a plant hanger, because when I bring some of these plants in next year, I'm going to have to hang some of them, keep the cat out of them. But some of them have gotten really long, some of my succulents. Anyway, I made it. It's like a chain, a heart chain, I think. I'll have to go grab it and bring it when I'm done with this. So I'm going to do this size leaf about halfway down, and then I'm going to make my leaf smaller so that the inside of my plant, the leaves are just a little smaller. So I'm going to kind of pull it out and see how long I am. I'm going to do a couple more still in this size. So I'm going to go to the next one, slip stitch. Katerina, I am making a succulent plushie. Jilly, this succulent, actually, I learned on YouTube. There's a couple of different YouTubers that make this pattern, that have done this pattern. I just searched succulent pattern, and you should be able to find someone that makes these if you want to look it up for like a more in-depth tutorial. But the rest of my plants that I make are all my own, like, let me figure out how to make this, and then, you know, worked it out and made it on my own. Just chained one after that slip stitch in. I just did one chain. And the only reason I did one chain, and I'll show you in the next one, is because it's really hard to go from that slip stitch to a double crochet. It's a little wonky, so I always find it easier to go from the chain one than the slip stitch. Okay, I'm going to make the rest of these leaves smaller. So like I have this slip stitch, and I guess it'd be okay to do it from a double crochet from a slip stitch. I guess my reasoning is wrong. I don't know, it just feels right to put that chain there. Okay, my next size leaf, I'm going to work in a half double crochet. So same kind of pattern, but 2 half double crochets, which in a half double looks just like a double at first, but you go through all 3 instead of splitting it up into 2. Chain 2 for my point, and then I'm going to do 2 more half doubles. Yeah, no problem. Let me get to the next leaf and I'll start over. So I'm making smaller leaves now, but the bigger ones I did in double crochets. These ones I'm doing in half double crochets. So I'm going into the hole with a slip stitch and then chain 1, and then I'm going to wrap around for a half double, pull through. I'm going to do 2 half double crochets, 2 chains, and then 2 more half double crochets. Now you can even step these down further in size and just do 2 single crochets, but basically depending on what size leaf you're wanting to make, this is a half double, this is a double, you just work 2 stitches and 2 chains in the middle, and then that's going to give you, those 2 chains are going to give you a point. Now you can work this if you want a more rounded leaf. You can just take out those 2 chains and maybe just do 1 more double crochet and just keep with the same stitch all the way across, and that's going to round it out. The 2 chains are just for a pointed leaf. And then if you wanted to make smaller leaves, we'll do one at the last. You can work in a smaller stitch, like a single crochet. So you do 2 single crochets, 2 chains, and then 2 more single crochets. You can even make a bigger leaf and do a triple crochet if you know how to do a triple crochet. So it'd be 2 triple crochets, 2 chains, and 2 triple crochets. Easy peasy. And that's why I like this pattern here, is because you can easily adjust to making the style of leaf that you want. You can also use this pattern to make flowers. So if you wanted to use a pink yarn or a yellow yarn, you can use this. You can round the leaves off, or you can make them pointy. It's a really fun little pattern to know so that you can make a versatile type. Thank you, Marissa, for writing that out. Treble is the same as triple, yes. All right, we're at the end of our holes. We have no more holes. I'm going to cut a longer tail because I want to sew it. I'm going to use this tail to sew it together, to kind of join it together. But first I'm going to wrap it around. I'm going to start with my smaller leaves, the end that has my smaller leaves here. First I'm also going to kind of work these out I kind of squinch them together and then pull the points out so that they kind of get real nice and pointy. Okay, so I'm going to start with the end of my smaller leaves. These are going to be on the inside. And I kind of want these to splay out just a little bit, so I'm going to just wrap them around each other like this. And then they're going to sit right inside that pot, like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my yarn, before I sew it into the pot, you know what I think I'm going to do actually? I think I'm going to do a soil ribbon. If you're familiar with my channel, you know what a soil ribbon is. It's a ribbon of brown yarn that I make and use for soil sometimes to wrap around. But I'm just going to do one, and I'm going to sew it on the inside because I don't want to sew my plant to the pot. So I'm going to do a soil ribbon around here. I'm going to sew that in first, and then I'm going to sew the plant to the pot. So basically what I do is I go through these. I'm not really piercing the leaf, except that first one's trying to get in too close. I'm piercing the foundation of what I worked in, and I'm just throwing a couple of stitches in there just so that it stays together. Oh good, I'm glad you guys love it. Sorry, I hadn't looked up yet in a minute. So again, you can make these succulents as big as you want. Just start with your chain. You know, this is a 30, this size is a 30, and with worsted weight yarn. You can make it bigger or littler. And you can also wrap them a little differently as well. You can roll them like a, oh, Kristen. Oh, Birdie, your husband got you a crochet kit. That's so sweet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these tails out here for a minute because I'm probably going to maybe sew with this tail. I haven't decided. I might sew with a brown thread or yarn. Let's make a soil ribbon real quick. I have no idea how big I need it to be. You can work a half double crochet foundation stitch. I suck at those. In fact, I tried to perfect it last night while I was sitting on the, or yesterday while I was sitting on the couch, and I just couldn't get it done. I just kept getting out of the groove. I don't know. I need to practice them a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chain a few, and I'm just going to kind of keep wrapping it around my pot to see if it goes. And I'm not going to wrap it on the outside. I'm going to wrap it to the inside because that's where it's going. So I'm just going to keep doing chains. Hey, Jilly, washcloths are the best place to start because it works out your, tension. It gives you exercise. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm just going to go back on here with a half double crochet. Sorry for the bump. Didn't mean to make y'all seasick. I'm just going to work out here with a half double crochet stitch. Is going to give me what I call a nice ribbon. I call it a soil ribbon. It's a term I use in my patterns and my tutorials. I make two different types of soil when I make my plants. I do a soil ball and I do a soil ribbon. The ribbons are really good for wrapping around like snake plants, aloe veras, things that don't vine. My soil ball is what I use for things that vine. All right. Da, 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 da. It's here at the end. I don't need a long tail on here. So we're just going to tuck that inside. Oh, Chelsea. Yeah, that's really good. PPD is so scary. Okay, so this is going to sit in here like this, and I'm going to go ahead and sew this. Actually, I'm going to invert it. See how this makes like a loop? This little bump back here, it kind of makes it curve outward. I'm going to curve it towards, I'm going to put the outward curve towards the edge. That way it kind of gets there. There we go. Now I'm going to take some of this yarn. This is the part I'm still trying to perfect. And it hasn't really been working out for me. But I think I've got it figured out. Oh, Birdie, that sucks. I hate projects like that. And then you're just kind of left in the balance of... my ex-husband and I bought a house a long time ago, and we had to completely gut the whole thing. And we lived upstairs with our 3 kids while we were... Okay, so I'm just going to set that down in here. But I didn't have a kitchen for 9 months, for 5 months, and it sucked so bad. Okay, so I'm going to go into this row. I remember last time we tried to sew it into this ridge and it looked wonky, so we're going to go a row down. And I'm going to leave my tail out there because we'll just sew those tails together in the end. And I'm just going to tack it. Like, I don't need it to be a super... Definitely not pulling tight. I don't want to cinch this up because I don't want it to squeeze at the top. So it's just a really loose stitch that's just going to keep, like, not really, really loose, but you know what I mean. I'm going to make it taut, but I'm not going to make it cinched. And since this cuff will roll over, you can't even really see the stitches across. Oh, Birdie, you made wind spinners? That's so awesome. I wanted to make some for my garden this year, and I just never got around to doing it. This is working so much easier than the soil ball I did yesterday. But then again, I did do a vining plant yesterday, so we had a little bit different of a need for securing our plant in. So then essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff this before I put the flower on. And then the flower is going to be the succulent is going to be what holds it all closed. The only issue that I'm foreseeing with this is that there's really not like any uniform base to the succulent but I think that's fine. It's actually going to cover up the brown, so it's really not going to be that big of a deal if, it looks a little wonky under there. I don't think you'll be able to see it. Okay, here we go. Oops. Okay, I'm just going to, again, make sure that everything is not super tight. So I'm going to come back out here, a stitch over from where I went in. That way, not that it matters, but... and then I'm going to tie these. And again, I'm just going to kind of gently tug out. Not too tight, but I just want to make sure that it doesn't... I don't want it to look cinched at all. So we're going to gently tie this into a little square knot. Flop, I would, first to start, get you a hook and some yarn. I would start with like a worsted weight yarn, just a regular old, this is, regular weight yarn, or chunkier yarn. Sometimes chunkier yarn is easier for people. And a hook. I say if you use the recommended hook on the yarn will tell you what size hook you need. Whoop, excuse me. I keep hitting that arm. The yarn will tell you on it or what size hook you need. And so you're going to look for this millimeter number on your hook. So if that's for knitting, this is for crocheting. So your crochet hook for this yarn standard is 5.5. You can go up or down a little bit. Like if the store is out of 5.5, you could go down to a 5. Your stitches are just going to be a little bit more snug, but that's not really a big deal. So anywhere around that, if you want to go up a smidge, but I would always say go down rather than going up. So those are the only tools you need, and maybe a yarn needle, because weaving in ends without a yarn needle is insanity. But that's really all. And then browse YouTube. There are so many fantastic instructors on YouTube. I have a quick little beginner's video on my YouTube as well. And it's just for basic stitches to like start with the plants. I don't really go further into other stitches, but I could have made this a little bit longer. It's kind of bugging me that I've got this little disjoint there, but I'm going to sew, this was one of the tails. I'm going to sew this down because it's bugging me, and I kind of also want it to fill in this gap here. So I'm just going to thread it through a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now, let's get our stuffing, because we're going to stuff this first. I love YouTube. YouTube taught me how to change out the blower motor in my Toyota Sequoia a couple years ago. I was really, really broke, and my blower, it was dead of winter, and my blower motor, as you guys know, I'm a professional driver, so I drive corporate clients, and then I also drive a lot for Uber. And my blower motor was out, and so therefore I had no heater and no defrost, and it was just miserable. And so, but I was broke, and so I went and bought the part, and then YouTube taught me how to change the blower motor in my car, and I changed it out. Easy peasy. I love YouTube. It is, in fact, my son made a very, very valid argument about how he didn't really need to go to college because he could learn everything he needed to know on YouTube. Not that that's valid enough for me to, you know, quit pushing him to go to college, but okay, so that's, I'm going to make it, I want to make sure it's squatty enough to stand up on its own, but I also don't really want to overstuff it. I don't know. There's really nothing to stuff up in here, so I want to stuff it to the top, and then I'm going to sew this down onto this. I'm going to go ahead and use the green tail from my succulent to sew it to it. And I'm just going to start with these stitches, and I'm going to sew it. I don't really want to come up to this loop because I'm afraid if you lifted it up, I'd see it right here. So what I'm going to do, this may look a little wonky, but I'm going to sew from down here and up into the back loop. I'm going to sew them kind of loose, and then I can pull through later for the first few stitches. So I'm afraid at some point I'm not going to be able to see down in there anymore, and we're just going to have to wing it. Go on blind faith that I'm getting it in there. See how clean that is because I didn't go out of that front loop. I really wanted to avoid that front loop there. Oh, I guess I also have to attach the plant to it. I did those 2 stitches and did not pierce the plant one time. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it also kind of helped me walk through some of my washer issues, although what I did on it didn't work, so I'm gonna have to do something else. But if you guys are familiar with Sean and Izzy on YouTube, or not on YouTube, here on TikTok, Sean wants to walk me through it on a YouTube live one time for his, because he does appliance repair. But I haven't gotten to be able to, I need to pull it out in my garage before I do that. And I just haven't really been in the mood to do that in this heat. Okay. Sorry, I keep pulling it away. You guys can't really see what I'm doing. I need to pay attention. Oops. Make sure your leaves don't get squished down into your threads. So that is sewing in nicely. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm in love. I could make a million of these. I can make a giant plushie army. Grandma. Rocky, I don't know how to do frogs and stuff like that. I've never crocheted. I haven't really ever crocheted animals. Plants are my thing. Okay, I think I'm back. I'll do one more stitch here. I kind of ran loose on that. I think next time I'll leave my tail even longer. Make sure I always have enough. All right, now let's figure out how to tie off this tiny tail. I think it looks great though. You can't see the stitches. You can see just a little bit of the soil, which also elevates the plant a little bit. The pot is perfect. Oh my God, could I have made a perfect, any more perfect of a, okay, let's preset our needle with, whenever you have short tails that you're trying to weave in or work out, preset your needle. Or actually, you know what? I'm trying to loop it to tie it off, so I'm just going to use my hook. So I'm just going to pull that through, pull it really tight, pull it through again, but then I'm going to pull it through that with like a slip stitch. If I can get it through. It's really tight. Okay, that should be sufficient. And then I'm going to tuck it in with my yarn needle. I'm going to use my big needle just because I'm going to really pierce this into the center, which I should have preset. Yep, preset your needle because this is super tiny end. Okay, now I'm going to pull this out. Boop. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh my God, how cute. You guys, I could sit here and washers are why your husband won't let you have hammers anymore. It is super cute. Oh my gosh, let's look at it when it's sitting down like this. The light in here is really wonky, sorry. Ta-da! Isn't that cute? Yeah, Snizzy, I did the cardboard with my, the sunflower bouquet that I made, the one that I've got in my feed, that I gave to my friend in the hospital. And I liked that. It was okay. I might try it next time on this smaller. That one that I made was pretty big. I kind of feel like maybe it needs some weighted, but I don't know. I kind of also wanted it to just be a plushie. Not that putting cardboard in it would make it not a plushie, but I get what you're saying. So it'll stand up straight. Dee, dee, dee. Hello, Florist Handmade. Yeah, I might check for some of those weighted beads and see, because those would be perfect. Yeah, the weight would definitely help, because it's very easy to kind of knock over at the moment. So cute. Oh my gosh, hold on tight. I want to show you guys what I made earlier yesterday. I made this plant hanger yesterday. I found this YouTube channel, and now I forget her name. It was something Sizemore. So put in Sizemore crochet. It was like Amy Sizemore or Alice Sizemore. But she has this heart chain tutorial. And so I made this hanging. I added these beads. And then I added a tassel at the bottom. She didn't have, she just did the stitch for the tutorial, not the plant hanger. I kind of constructed this out of my own brain. But I made these separately and then tied them on. And it's funny because each of these is done differently, because going in the opposite directions for them was really difficult. But I like making it. And then it has this, whoop, and as I went on, I fastened I just did that when I got to the chains, but, thank you. I love it. I should have done one more. I think 5 would have been perfect, because it'll hold the pot with 4, but if it gets bumped or, knocked around at all, it might slip out. So I think 5 would have been a lot better. Thank you, Maria. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know. But I really liked that stitch. It was super easy. These are all a bunch of pull-throughs. You know how we do the puff stitch for the string of pearls? We did 6 pull-throughs on this side. And then as you're pulling through, instead of pulling through all of them, you just pull through 2 or 3 at a time. And that gives you the edge and the point. It was super easy. I don't know what this stitch is called. Hold on, let me look it up in my my YouTube history. Just a second. I saved it, so figure out how to go to my saved. How do I go to my saved? History. Let's go into history. Here it is. Okay. Mini heart, simple crochet, mini heartstring. And it was, here, I'll show you. Okay, look it up. Okay, it's this video right here. Oop, this video right here. I think that was her. I feel like her name was Amy Sizemore, though. Maybe that wasn't the actual video I watched. There was a couple of them. But it's a heartstring, simple crochet, mini heartstring. I don't know that this was...
Continue and crochet the second heart without
Yeah, this was the one. I don't know where I saw the word Amy Sizemore. But it's Elena Rugel Studio. See down here, crochet.Elena Rugel Studio. She used a much thinner yarn than I did. So hers were a little daintier. I used the worsted weight because I wanted it to be thick enough and powerful enough to hold it, to hold a plant. But here's another one, a mini cord bracelet. That's pretty. They got beads on it. And then these are the leaves I've seen some people make, which are pretty similar in pattern. Anyway, there's another one. Crochet Hearts cord bracelet. Ooh, that would be fun to do with embroidery floss, like to make a bracelet. Oh, the ideas, the inspiration, the creativity. All right, guys, I'm going to take a break. I might be back, I might not, because I may run out to my mom's. It looks cloudy outside, like it's going to rain. Probably won't, it's just teasing. But I also need to go eat breakfast. So I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for joining me. Please look on my link tree for my YouTube channel, my Instagram, and my tip jar. If you guys care to contribute to my ability to stay here and do this for you guys. If not, I'll see you guys next time. I love your support, and all your likes and all your follows and everything. It means the world to me. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.